Do not mistake the echo for the voice. The universe creates neither your gold nor your grief, but faithfully magnifies the signal you broadcast into the void. The Chronicles of ITheConsciousObserver. Welcome, fellow travelers, to this quiet observatory of the mind, where we pause the ceaseless noise of the mundane world to gaze upon the machinery of existence itself. Let us sit together in this metaphorical twilight, suspended somewhere between the dust of the earth and the infinite sprawl of the cosmos, to contemplate a subject that has haunted the human spirit since the first conscious thought flickered into being. We are here to unravel the enigma of what we might call the universe's algorithm, that silent, invisible, yet omnipotent set of laws that determines the distribution of fortune and famine, the allocation of gold and grief. When you look out at the tapestry of human lives, you see a chaotic scatter plot here, a person seemingly blessed by Midas, where every venture turns to prosperity with the ease of breathing. There, a soul burdened by Sisyphus's stone, toiling endlessly only to see their efforts crumble into dust. Is this randomness? Is the universe a careless gambler throwing dice in the dark? Or is there a code, a hidden syntax to reality that, once understood, reveals that nothing is accidental and everything is calculated? To understand why one individual walks in abundance while another wades through the mire of scarcity, we must first abandon the archaic notion of a judgmental deity sitting upon a throne of clouds, dispensing rewards and punishments based on a human understanding of morality. The universe, in its vast and ancient wisdom, operates less like a moody monarch and more like a pristine, impartial supercomputer of infinite complexity. It is an energetic ecosystem governed by a cosmic algorithm, a precise, unyielding system of cause and effect that transcends our linear perception of time and space. This algorithm does not judge, it processes. It does not punish, it responds. Just as a mirror does not decide whether to reflect a frown or a smile, but simply returns the image presented to it with absolute fidelity, so too does the universe reflect the energetic data we input into it. We are not merely inhabitants of this reality, we are the programmers. Though many of us have forgotten the language of the code and sleepwalk through our lives, randomly mashing keys and wondering why the screen displays errors and tragedies. Imagine, if you will, that the air around you is not empty space, but a thick, conductive medium, a lattice of potentiality that records every vibration of your being. This is the interface of the algorithm. The question of who becomes wealthy and who suffers is not decided by a lottery at birth, though the circumstances of our arrival are indeed part of a karmic data set we inherit. Rather, the trajectory of our lives is determined by the continuous stream of signals we broadcast into this lattice. The algorithm parses these signals, our deepest beliefs, our habitual emotions, the unspoken narratives we recite in the silence of our own skulls, and matches them with corresponding external realities. It is a matching engine of divine proportions. When the universe delivers suffering, it is not an act of malice, it is a feedback mechanism. It is the system alerting the user that there is a dissonance between their internal frequency and the flow of abundance that naturally permeates creation. Suffering, in this light, is the friction caused by swimming upstream against the current of the Tao, the way, the natural order of expansion and well-being. Yet, this perspective is difficult to swallow when one is in the throes of hardship. The illusion of separation is strong. We look at the material world and we see solid objects, scarce resources, and fierce competition. We see the billionaire and the beggar and assume that the difference lies in luck, ruthlessness, or perhaps inheritance. While these factors play their roles on the surface level of the simulation, the algorithm operates at the quantum bedrock. It dictates that wealth is not merely the accumulation of currency, but a state of energetic flow. Those who are truly wealthy in the holistic sense of sustained prosperity and fulfillment have, consciously or unconsciously, aligned their internal code with the frequency of abundance. They have unlocked the permission to receive. Conversely, those who find themselves in perpetual loops of struggle are often unknowingly running corrupted subroutines of unworthiness, scarcity, and fear. The algorithm, being impartial, simply executes the program. I am not enough becomes a reality of not enough money, not enough love, not enough time. We must also consider the grand scope of this mechanism. The universe's algorithm is not limited to the span of a single lifetime or the immediate gratification of a desire. It calculates across the curvature of time. It considers the momentum of past actions, what the ancients called karma, and the intricate web of collective consciousness. Sometimes, the algorithm is resolving an equation that began generations ago. A period of poverty might be the necessary pressure required to forge a diamond of resilience in a soul, preparing it for a wealth that is not just material, but spiritual and enduring. Thus, the distribution of pain is not a flaw in the system, but a feature designed for evolution. The universe is interested in your growth, and if comfort leads to stagnation, the algorithm will introduce the variable of discomfort to prompt movement. It is a rigorous teacher, but it is never without purpose. As we embark on this exploration, we are essentially learning to read the source code of our own existence. We are peeling back the veil of the mundane to see the gears of the divine watchmaker. This journey requires us to suspend our cynicism and open our minds to a paradox that we are entirely responsible for our reality, and yet we are part of a flow much larger than our individual egos. We will explore how the specific inputs of gratitude, vision, and generosity act as admin commands that can override the default settings of struggle. We will look at how the universe creates balance, how it demands an exchange of energy for every unit of value received, and how the wealth it dispenses is always proportional to the value energetic or material that we contribute to the whole. The algorithm balances the books with zero error. There is no debt that remains unpaid in the cosmos, and no credit that goes unredeemed, though the payment may arrive in forms we do not immediately recognize. So, let us prepare to delve deeper. Let us look past the surface of bank accounts and social strata into the vibrant, pulsating heart of the law of attraction, the law of correspondence, and the law of rhythm. We are stripping away the social narratives of unfairness to reveal the structural integrity of the cosmos. By understanding this algorithm, we move from being victims of a capricious fate to becoming architects of our destiny. We stop begging the universe for scraps and start collaborating with it to build empires of the soul and of the world. The invitation is open. The terminal is active. The cursor is blinking, waiting for your input. Are you ready to see how the code is written? If we accept the premise that our reality is a projection of a vast, underlying cosmic computation, we must then turn our attention to the specific laws that govern this programming. We are not merely drifting in a void of chaos, we are navigating a structure supported by immense, immutable pillars. These are the core themes of the universe's algorithm, the operating system instructions that dictate how energy coagulates into matter, how intent transforms into circumstance, and how the abstract concepts of wealth and suffering are rendered into the flesh and bone of our daily lives. To understand these themes is to begin reading the manual of creation itself, moving us from the confusion of the novice to the mastery of the adept. The primary pillar upon which this entire algorithmic structure rests is the law of resonance, often simplified in popular culture as the law of attraction, though it is far more profound than mere wishful thinking. The universe does not speak English, nor French, nor Vietnamese. It speaks the language of frequency. Imagine for a moment that you are a finely tuned instrument, a cello resting in a grand orchestral hall. Every thought, every fleeting emotion, and every deeply held conviction vibrates a string within you, sending a specific sound wave out into the ether. The algorithm of the universe functions like a sympathetic string. It vibrates only in response to the specific pitch you are emitting. If your internal state is tuned to the frequency of scarcity, a low, anxious hum of not enough, of fear, of jealousy, the universe has no choice but to harmonize with that note, bringing into your reality experiences that resonate with lack. It is a faithful duplicator. It cannot bring you the symphony of abundance if you are persistently playing the dirge of poverty. This is why wanting is often the greatest trap. To want is to declare to the algorithm that you do not have. The algorithm acknowledges this definition of your reality. You are in a state of not having and perpetuates it. True wealth, therefore, begins not with the accumulation of coin, but with the cultivation of the feeling of abundance, a resonance of gratitude and fullness that exists before the material evidence arrives. Flowing directly from resonance is the second pillar, the principle of correspondence, anciently whispered as above, so below, as within, so without. This creates the uncomfortable but liberating truth that our external world is nothing more than a high-fidelity printout of our internal landscape. When we see disorder, financial ruin, or relational strife in our physical environment, we are looking at the symptoms, not the disease. The algorithm is simply rendering the data we have stored in our subconscious. Many of us spend our lives trying to change the reflection in the mirror by scrubbing the glass, exhausted by the futility of trying to manipulate external events without altering the internal cause. The universe's algorithm dictates that to change the output, the wealth, or the pain, one must rewrite the source code within the psyche. We must scour our inner archives for the viruses of unworthiness and the corrupted files of victimhood. Until the internal architect changes the blueprints, the external builder will continue to erect the same flawed structures over and over again. Interwoven with these is the law of circulation, or the dynamic of the vacuum. The universe abhors stagnation. Its nature is movement, expansion, and flow. Wealth, in the algorithmic sense, is energy in motion, hence the word currency, derived from the current of a river. The algorithm favors those who keep the energy moving. Those who hoard, who clutch their possessions with a fist of fear, inadvertently pinch off the pipeline of supply. By refusing to let energy flow out, they prevent new energy from flowing in. The algorithm reads the clenched fist as a signal of distrust in the infinite supply, and thus, supply is restricted. Conversely, those who give freely not just money, but time, love, and service create a vacuum, a low-pressure system that the universe must rush to fill to maintain equilibrium. This is the paradox of prosperity. One must be willing to release what one has to receive what one needs. The algorithm rewards the conduit, not the reservoir. It seeks channels through which it can express its infinite creativity, and if you position yourself as an open channel, the flow that passes through you will naturally sustain and enrich you. Let us now step away from the abstract diagrams of laws and principles and gather closer to the hearth of human experience. Since the dawn of consciousness, truth has often been best transported, not in the dry container of a formula, but in the vibrant vessel of a story. Myths, fables, and allegories are not merely entertainment for the naive. They are encrypted archives of wisdom, case studies of the universe's algorithm in action. By examining these symbolic narratives, we can see how the cold logic of cosmic law translates into the warm, breathing, and often turbulent reality of our lives. These stories serve as mirrors, allowing us to recognize our own behaviors in the archetypes of old, revealing where we have unwittingly programmed our own tragedies or where we might yet script our triumphs. Consider, if you will, the ancient allegory of the Mirror Hall, a legend whispered by mystics of the East. It is said that there exists a hidden temple at the edge of the world, constructed entirely of perfect, flawless silver mirrors. One day, a great, feral dog, driven by the hunger of the wild and the fear of the unknown, wandered into this temple. Seeing 1,000 other dogs appearing instantly around him, he froze. His instincts, tuned to the frequency of survival and threat, commanded him to snarl to assert dominance. Instantly, 1,000 dogs snarled back, their teeth bared in a terrifying display of aggression. Overwhelmed by this sudden army of enemies, the dog barked ferociously, snapping at the air. The reflection, faithful to the algorithm of optics, barked back with equal ferocity. The dog spent his final hours fighting an exhausted, desperate battle against his own reflections, eventually collapsing from heart failure, surrounded by enemies that were nothing more than his own projected fear. Later, a sage walked into the same temple. She entered with a heart full of peace and a slight smile of curiosity. As she stepped in, 1,000 sages smiled back at her, radiating a sense of welcome and serenity. She extended a hand in a gesture of greeting, and 1,000 hands reached out to greet her in return. She left the temple refreshed, convinced that it was a sanctuary of holy spirits. The temple had not changed, the mirrors had not shifted. The algorithm of the temple was constant, it simply multiplied the input. This story is a terrifyingly accurate depiction of how the universe's algorithm determines the quality of our lives. We often walk through the world snarling at our bills, at our bosses, at the economy, believing we are reacting to a hostile reality. We do not see that the hostility is a reflection, a loop created, because the universe is faithfully bouncing our own internal signal of conflict back to us. The person who suffers is often fighting the mirror. The person who prospers is the one who has learned to smile at it first, knowing the reflection has no choice but to follow suit. Let us traverse from the temple to the fields, to the parable of the two gardeners, which illuminates the often misunderstood aspect of time and the cosmic buffer. Two gardeners were given identical plots of land and identical seeds of a rare, golden fruit. The first gardener, a man of intense anxiety and impatience, planted his seeds and watered them. The next day, seeing no sprout, he felt a pang of worry. Is the soil defective? He thought. Did the universe forget me? Driven by his doubt, he dug up the seeds to check if they were growing. Finding them dormant, he reburied them, only to dig them up again. A few days later, in a fit of frustration, he cursed the ground for its slowness and poured harsh chemicals to force growth. The seeds, disturbed and poisoned by his frantic intervention, withered and died. He ended the season with a barren field, bitter at the unfairness of agriculture. The second gardener planted her seeds with a quiet reverence. She watered them and then did something profound. She left them alone. She understood the algorithm of gestation. She trusted that the invisible work happening underground was just as real as the visible work above. When weeds of doubt appeared in her mind, she pulled them out, refusing to let them strangle her faith. She walked the empty field, visualizing the harvest, feeling the weight of the golden fruit in her hands long before a single leaf broke the surface. When the sprouts finally appeared, they were robust and strong. Her harvest was abundant. The difference was not in the soil, nor the seed, nor the weather. The difference was that the second gardener respected the latency of the system. She understood that the algorithm requires a period of processing where the reality is assembled in the dark before it is rendered in the light. Poverty and suffering are often the result of the first gardener's mindset, the inability to hold a frequency of trust during the silence of the void, aborting the process of creation just before it comes to fruition. Finally, we must contemplate the legend of the Golden River to understand the principle of circulation and the error of stagnation. In a valley surrounded by high mountains, a river flowed, bringing life to all the villages along its banks. One man, observing the flow, was seized by a terrible fear of drought. What if the river stops? He thought. I must secure my future. He built a massive dam around his property, diverting the water into a private reservoir. He felt rich, looking at his accumulated wealth of water. But soon, cut off from the current, the water in his reservoir grew still. Algae bloomed, choking the life within it. The water turned stagnant, foul, and poisonous. His crops, watered by this sludge, died. His family fell ill from the fumes of the rot. He had wealth in volume, but he had created poverty in quality, manifesting suffering through the very act of hoarding. Meanwhile, the villagers downstream, though they had no reservoir, allowed the river to flow freely through their lands, taking only what they needed and letting the rest pass on to their neighbors. Because the water was always moving, it remained fresh, oxygenated, and full of life. They were wealthy not because they held on to the water, but because they were part of the water's journey. This is the precise mechanism of the universe's algorithm regarding money and energy. Money is meant to move. It is a current. When we cling to it out of fear, stopping its flow to others, or refusing to invest it back into the stream of life, we create a stagnant pool. The algorithm detects this blockage and ceases to send new flow. Why send more water to a dam that is already full and rotting? The rich who suffer are those who have dammed the river. The wealthy who thrive are those who have become the riverbed, knowing that as long as they remain open, the stream will never run dry. These narratives are not mere fairy tales, they are diagnostic tools. When we look at our own lives, we must ask, are we the dog barking at the mirror, wondering why the world is so aggressive? Are we the frantic gardener, digging up our investments with the shovel of doubt? Are we the hoarder, building dams of fear that turn our abundance into poison? The universe's algorithm is writing our story in real time, but it is we who provide the plot twists through our reactions and our state of being. The heroes of these stories, the smiling sage, the patient gardener, the open villager, share a common trait. They aligned their internal state with the laws of nature rather than fighting against them. They understood that the universe is not something to be conquered, but a partner to be danced with. As we absorb the wisdom of these symbols, we begin to see that our practical, everyday problems are merely these ancient archetypes playing out in modern costume. It is now time to strip away the allegory and look at the concrete, tangible ways this code manifests in our 21st century lives. We have traversed the high peaks of cosmic theory and walked through the hushed valleys of ancient parable. Now, however, we must undertake the most treacherous yet rewarding leg of our journey, the descent back into the bustling marketplace of everyday existence. It is one thing to understand the universe's algorithm in the silence of a meditation chamber or the safety of a philosophical reverie. It is entirely another to apply it when the alarm clock screams at 6 in the morning, when the bank account flashes a warning in red, or when the demands of family and career threaten to crush the spirit. This is where the true alchemy happens. The algorithm does not pause when you are stuck in traffic, nor does it sleep when you are arguing with a spouse. In fact, it is in these mundane, gritty moments of friction that the code is most actively compiling your future. If we are to bridge the gap between who suffers and who prospers, we must learn to see our daily routine not as a series of random chores, but as a continuous interface with the cosmic computer. Let us begin with the waking moment, the boot-up sequence of your daily consciousness. For the vast majority of those caught in the cycle of struggle, the first thought of the day is a reaction to the past or a fear of the future. They wake up and immediately download the scarcity virus thoughts of fatigue, dread for the commute, anxiety about the tasks ahead, or the heaviness of unresolved problems. The algorithm receives this initial input: I am tired, I am stressed, life is a burden, and immediately sets the parameters for the day to match. It configures your reticular activating system to notice obstacles, to feel irritation, and to attract conflict. To hack this, one must seize the first 5 minutes of the day as sacred programming time. Before checking the phone, which is essentially opening a portal to everyone else's chaotic algorithms, the conscious architect must assert their own code. This is not about hollow affirmations, but about generating a genuine feeling of anticipation. It is the quiet assertion that today is a field of potential, and I am the gardener. By vibrating with gratitude for the simple fact of breath before your feet even touch the floor, you send a success signal to the universe that prioritizes opportunities over obstacles for the hours to come. Moving into the realm of finance, we must radically alter our interaction with the physical tokens of wealth. For many, money is a source of trauma, a trigger that induces a physiological contraction, a tightening of the chest, a shallowing of the breath. When you pay a bill with resentment, gritting your teeth at the loss of funds, you are screaming scarcity into the void. The algorithm hears the scream, not the silence of the transaction. It registers that money is a source of pain for you, and in its protective logic, it may well restrict the flow to save you from that pain. To integrate the abundance code, we must learn the art of the blessed transaction. Every time money leaves your hands, it must be accompanied by a silent mental blessing. View the payment of an electric bill not as a theft of your resources, but as a gratitude receipt for the miracle of light and warmth. When you buy groceries, feel the abundance of the earth that provided them. This subtle shift transforms the act of spending from a depletion of energy into a circulation of energy. You are telling the algorithm, I have enough to share, I am a conduit of flow. This relaxes the psychological grip of poverty and signals the system that you are ready to handle more current. In the sphere of work and career, the implications are equally profound. The suffering mindset views work as a transaction of slavery trading time for survival. This creates a frequency of resistance, which often manifests as stagnation, lack of promotion, or burnout. The universe responds to resistance with more resistance. The wealthy mindset, conversely, views work as a platform for value creation. Irrespective of the job title, whether one is a CEO or a janitor, the algorithm rewards the output of excellence. If you are cleaning a floor, and you do it with the intention of creating a pristine, beautiful space for others to walk on, you are encoding high value into your activity. You are broadcasting that you are greater than your current circumstance. The universe inevitably moves big energy into big containers. If you act small, resentful, and minimal in your effort, the algorithm keeps you in a small box. To break out of a stagnant career, one must perform the current role with the energy of the role one desires. You must over-deliver not for the sake of the boss, but for the sake of the integrity of your own signal. We must also address the treacherous trap of comparative glitching, exacerbated by our modern digital landscape. When we scroll through social media, observing the curated highlight reels of others' apparent wealth, we often slip into envy or self-pity. In the language of the algorithm, envy is a fatal error. It is a declaration that their success is my failure and resources are limited. It reinforces the illusion of separation. When you envy another, you are emotionally rejecting the very abundance you seek. You are telling the universe that wealth belongs to them, not us. The practical integration here is to retrain the reflex. When you see someone prospering, you must force the mind to pivot from envy to inspiration. You must say, this is evidence that abundance is possible. If they can do it, the potential exists for me too. By blessing their success, you harmonize with the frequency of success itself. You treat their victory as a preview of your own, thereby merging your algorithm with the trajectory of growth rather than the static of bitterness. Furthermore, we must understand the role of inspired action. A common misunderstanding of cosmic laws is the belief that one can simply meditate on a pile of gold and it will manifest on the carpet. The algorithm does not work that way. It requires a physical bridge to deliver physical goods. Ideas, hunches, and sudden urges to call someone or go somewhere are the packets of data the universe sends you. Ignoring these nudges is like ignoring a delivery driver knocking at your door and then complaining that your package never arrived. The person who suffers often ignores these intuitive prompts out of fear or laziness, waiting for a guarantee before they move. The person who becomes wealthy acts on the subtle prompts. They understand that action is the language of the physical dimension. When you take a step toward a goal, even a small, imperfect step, you are proving to the algorithm that you are serious. You are completing the circuit. The universe can steer a moving ship, but it cannot steer a stationary one. Finally, we must integrate the concept of system maintenance through the evening review. Just as we booted up the system with intention, we must shut it down with resolution. Many carry the stress of the day into their sleep, allowing the subconscious to marinate in anxiety for 8 hours. This is why they wake up exhausted. They have been running high-stress programs all night. The practical remedy is a nightly clearing of the cache. Before sleep, replay the day, not to judge it, but to extract the lessons and release the emotions. Forgive yourself for the errors, forgive others for their trespasses. This forgiveness is not a moral favor to them. It is a system reset for you. It stops the accumulation of karmic junk files that slow down your processing speed. By going to sleep in a state of neutral peace or gratitude, you ensure that the algorithm has a clean slate for the next rotation of the earth. As we stand here, grounded in the practicalities of how to think, spend, work, and sleep, we begin to see that the universe's algorithm is not a distant magic, but a discipline of the moment. It is the cumulative effect of thousands of small choices made in the privacy of the mind. We are stripping away the victimhood that says life happens to us and embracing the responsibility that life happens through us. We are ready now to tie these threads together, to look back at the tapestry we have woven, and to step into the final realization of our power. The code is laid bare, the terminal is open. It remains only to issue the final command. And so, we arrive at the threshold of our journey, standing at the precipice where knowledge must transmute into wisdom, and where the silent observation of the cosmic machinery gives way to the active participation in its design. We have traveled far together, from the cold, interstellar voids where the laws of resonance were first whispered, through the mirrored halls of ancient allegory, and down into the dusty, frenetic streets of our daily commerce. We have dissected the algorithm of the universe not to strip it of its magic, but to understand its integrity. We have learned that the distribution of wealth and the visitation of suffering are not the whimsical decrees of a tyrant, nor the random accidents of a chaotic void. They are the precise, mathematical outputs of a system that loves us too much to lie to us. The universe, in its infinite fidelity, has shown us exactly who we are by showing us exactly what we have. As we stand here, the most profound realization is not that the system controls us, but that the system waits for us. The realization that separates the awakened soul from the slumbering masses is the understanding that the victim and the victor are not fixed identities, but temporary states of energetic alignment. To look upon one's poverty, one's heartbreak, or one's stagnation and say, "I created this," is perhaps the most terrifying admission a human being can make. It sears the ego, which loves to blame the economy, the government, the upbringing, or the stars. Yet, in that searing fire lies the seed of ultimate liberation. For if you had the power to create a reality of lack through unconscious programming, you possess the equal and opposite power to create a reality of abundance through conscious intent. The algorithm does not care about your past errors. It only cares about your current signal. The moment you shift your frequency, the universe begins the complex, heavy lifting of rearranging the stars to match your new song. This transformation requires a radical softness. We are conditioned to fight for wealth, to conquer suffering, to battle our way to the top. But the universe's algorithm suggests a different path, the path of surrender and harmonization. We do not force the river to flow, we remove the stones that block it. We do not force the seed to grow, we provide the warmth that allows it to unfold. The transformational call here is not a call to arms, but a call to alignment. It is an invitation to drop the heavy armor of defense and the sharp weapons of cynicism. It is a plea to stop shouting at the mirror and start smiling at the soul. When you finally understand that the world out there is merely a printout of the world in here, you stop trying to change the printout with an eraser and start changing the file in the computer. You begin to cultivate a wealth of spirit generosity, gratitude, vision, and faith, knowing that the material wealth must inevitably follow, just as a shadow must inevitably follow the body that casts it. Let us also remember that the ultimate purpose of this algorithm is not merely to fill our pockets with gold or our lives with ease. If that were the case, the universe would be a shallow vending machine. The purpose is evolution. The dance between wealth and suffering is designed to expand the capacity of the human heart. Sometimes, abundance is given to test our stewardship and our ability to remain humble and generous in the face of power. Other times, scarcity is allowed to linger to test our resilience and to force us to discover resources within ourselves that we never knew existed. The rich man who is spiritually bankrupt is, in the eyes of the algorithm, in a state of deep poverty, destined for a correction. The poor man who maintains his dignity and kindness is building a karmic equity that will eventually pay out in dividends far greater than currency. We are playing a long game, a game that spans lifetimes, and the algorithm is guiding us toward the ultimate wealth, the realization of our oneness with the source. Therefore, the call to action is a call to become the benevolent programmer of your own existence. It is time to audit the code you run in the silence of your mind. Catch the subroutines of fear before they execute. Delete the viruses of unworthiness that tell you that you are destined to struggle. Write new lines of code that affirm your connection to the infinite supply. Wake up tomorrow not as a cog in the machine, but as the operator of the console. Treat every person you meet as a divine encounter, every dollar you spend as a seed of blessing, and every challenge as a feedback mechanism designed to refine your trajectory. Do not wait for the external world to give you permission to feel wealthy, worthy, or happy. To wait is to disconnect from the power source. You must generate the frequency first. You must become the alchemist who spins straw into gold within the crucible of the heart, long before the gold appears in the hand. As we part ways in this narrative, imagine the universe as a vast, shimmering ocean of responsive energy, extending infinitely in all directions. You are standing on the shore. For years, perhaps, you have been throwing stones of doubt and fear into the water, and the waves have crashed back upon you with violence. But now, you hold a different offering. You hold the clarity of intent. You hold the calmness of trust. You hold the desire to serve and to grow. As you cast this new offering into the deep, know that the ripples are already moving. They are traveling to the ends of creation, engaging with forces you cannot see, conspiring to bring back a tide of fortune that matches the purity of your gift. The algorithm is running. The cursor is blinking. The past is a finalized file, unchangeable but readable for wisdom. The future is an open command line, waiting for your input. Do not tremble before the magnitude of this power. It is your birthright. It is the legacy of the stars from which you were forged. Go forth now, not as a beggar seeking scraps from a capricious fate, but as a master builder, confident that the universe is not only watching but cheering for your ascension. The code is yours to write. Make it a masterpiece.